What's up, everybody? Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, welcome back. We got another review for you today. It is a folding knife, and it is another folding knife from Shieldon Knives, guys. So if you guys didn't see my Track It On video, make sure you go check that one out. But this one's a little bit different, a little bit smaller guy. Again, it got this nice Shieldon pouch here. Take that out. You can use it or not use it, either way, up to you. But it does have a pocket clip on the knife. But guys, this is the Shieldon Gambit. This is a Dirk Pinkerton design. It is a front flipper, which I'm not very good with front flippers, but I will say that this one is actually easier for me to use because the design on the flipper, I can actually flip it open very nicely. And it is, to me, one of my favorite designs as far as a cleaver design. I'm a sucker for cleavers, guys. I don't know why, but I really like cleavers. But guys, check that out. It's a pretty cool little blade. This is going to be like a really good EDC carry type of blade. It's very, what I like about these style of blades like this, when they're like this size with a cleaver, is it's a very unassuming blade, right? You know, if you're out in public, let's say you work in an office environment, or you're out in public, things like that, and for whatever reason you need a knife to cut something open, you know, if you pull this little guy out, you know, you can open it nicely, and you're not going to freak people out, right? They're just not going to, oh my God, there's a knife, you know. You know, you can even flip it open and do what you got to do. It's kind of small, unassuming, you know, where like you pull out a bigger tactical style knife or something, you know, people, you know, tend to look, you know, what's this guy doing, you know? So I do like that this has like a lower profile look to it for certain, you know, certain situations, right? So I do really like that about this knife. It's very cool, very small, very light. Let me get into the specs on this here, guys, and we'll talk about a couple of other things I noticed on this bad boy. So this is the Shieldon Gambit, designed by Dirk Pinkerton. Your blade thickness is 0.12. You have a length of 2.57, so it should be legal for you to carry in most places. Check your local laws. Your total length is 6.01. Closed, you're looking at 3.44. So we close this up. You got a nice little footprint in your pocket. Not going to take up a lot of space. Your handle thickness is 0.47. The weight on this is 3.16 grams. But we're going to just double check that real quick. Turn on the old scale here. 3.0. It's kind of fluctuating a little bit. I don't know why. That's kind of weird. Wait, maybe it's because I'm touching the wind's blowing. I don't know. 3.04, 3.05. So it's actually coming in lighter than what they say on their website. On their website, they're listing it at 3.16. So it's good to know. Got a little bit lighter blade here. You are getting 154 cm steel. Very nice. With double layer G10 handles. And you do have a red little G10 back spacer here. It's 154 cm steel. It is coming in at a Rockwell hardness of 58 to 60. Again, it's a cleaver style with a stonewash finish. You do have caged ceramic bearings with a nested liner lock. So a very nice looking little lock system here. Flip this open. You guys can see how it's nested in there. You're definitely getting very solid lockup. This is actually 100% engaged. If you can, I don't know if you can see that on there, but you can see that the liner lock is fully over underneath the blade. So you definitely got a solid lockup there. It's very easy to push the lock out of the way to, you know, it's actually chamfered, if you can see that. See the chamfering on there? So it actually doesn't have any like sharp edges. So it's nice because it makes it easier on, you know, your thumb to close it. You can flip it right back open. You do have these holes here, and it is actually kind of like a groove. So let's see if we can spidey flick this open. I think we can, though. Oh yeah, so I'm able to spidey flick that open easily. Let's do it again. I know a lot of people like to fidget with their folding knives and things like that, and like spidey flick it open, do what you got to do. I have big XL hands, so this is doesn't give me a full grip. My pinky is just resting right here on the edge of this when I'm gripping it. You guys can see that kind of coming in. So, but I feel like I have a solid grip. Actually, I actually kind of prefer to put my pinky under. You guys can see that. Feels really good like that. I can lock it in, do what I got to do. If I come over the top, reverse grip, can lock my hand over the top like so. I don't know what you're going to do reverse grip with a cleaver, but I don't know. But again, let's kind of talk about like what is. Oh, you do have this nice jimping that goes all the way up the spine. So I guess, you know, if you had to come in here, this does, because there is a slight upswept here, just very slight. It actually does give it somewhat of a usable tip here, so you can actually come in here and do some finer cutting work, things like that. It has a very nice edge, nice kind of big flat grind. I like this. I like some of the attention to the detail. Look at the kind of see there how the milling work and stuff was done. So very nicely done. It's got a nice pocket clip. This one is not reversible, so it is right side carry only. That is kind of one thing I've noticed with some of the Shieldon knives is some of them just are right hand carry only. I would like to in the future see them add the hole so you could flip that left or right. I'm left-handed. I'm kind of weird. I'm a little bit ambidextrous because I'm left-handed, but I can do a lot of stuff with my right. I actually carry knives on my right side and my left side, so I can go either way. It doesn't really matter. But some people, that might be a big deal, you know. So it would be nice to see them at least just add the holes on in the future knives, so you can make it left or right. You know, flip the clip over. Couldn't get that one out, guys. But again, front flipper, the way it's designed, I actually like this one. I can flip it open easily. Other front flipper knives that I've had before that I've messed around with, they were really difficult for me to open just because of my thumb, big old meat paw thumbs. But this one, I'm not having an issue with. I can easily, you know, flip it open without any issues. Again, more than likely, I'm just going to spidey flick this thing open whenever I use it. So, but very nicely done. I really like the setup of it. Blade centered up nicely, opens and closes smoothly. There's no like grittiness in the mechanism. So very nicely done. And so we're going to get over to the testing area, and we're going to put this through some paces. Guys, this is again a cleaver style blade. So, you know, we're going to just do some EDC style stuff with this blade, guys. We're going to cut some rope, the fire hose, some air hose line, things like that. We're just going to do the basic kind of stuff that you would do with a knife of this caliber, this size. We're going to use this for what it's intended for, and we're going to show it at use. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to head over to the testing area. All right, everybody, we're over here at the testing area. We got the Gambit ready to rock and roll. I'm going to put this bad boy to its little paces, let you guys know, let you guys see how it works, how it operates. I mean, not too difficult, right, guys? This knife. So, got some ratchet strap here, guys. This is some cheapy kind of ratchet strap, but again, this might be something you might need to cut. Come in there, cut through that easily. Not a problem. Double this over. Got my big old finger in the way. So this does have a wider blade, so if you got to fold something over small like this, you do have to kind of work it in there a little bit to, you know, get your fingers on it. There it goes. So that is something to keep in mind. If you got to slide through maybe a smaller area, the wider blade might cause an issue, but overall, I don't think it does. One thing I wanted to guys show you guys is the ratchet strap. Again, you want to come up here, a little bit of that tip. You can easily push in, like I just pierced right through that. Push in, drag across, make a nice cut, right? So if you're cutting, maybe work on leather or something, you got to do a nice precision kind of cut. You can come in and do a nice little cut like that, and that little bit of a tip that's there, it's still there, it's still sharp. So you had to cut some, what was it, ratchet strap, you can. So we got some 550 cord, guys. Come in here. Again, this is stuff that, you know, you're going to cut pretty much on an everyday basis. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Bam, right there. So kind of come in and cut all that up. Absolutely. This would make a really good box cutting type of blade too, if you have to cut open a lot of boxes at work or something like that. This would also come in very handy. Again, unassuming, so you're not going to freak people out. We are going to do a little bit of we're going to do a little chop here. So we got 3 strands of this 550 cord. I'm trying to get it lined up. Boom, cut. one in half completely. That one pretty much cut in half, but bam, look at that. Cut nicely. Now this isn't a chopper, guys. This isn't something you're going to be running around chopping up stuff with. You know, maybe if you're at lunch or something, you cut your sandwich, cut your steak up with it, things like that. Absolutely. But again, it's not like a big heavy duty chopper. It's a smaller EDC blade. So always guys, keep in mind like what the intended use of the blade is. Obviously you don't want to be going out and abusing your blades and breaking them and things like that, doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing. Like if you need to be out there hammering and chopping, buy a big hammer and chopping blade. You know, be smart about it. I do, again, press these knives a little bit harder than most people normally would. Just I want to show you guys that they can hold up to some of the abuse. Bam, look at that nice little, I had to like, you know, this thing's light, so I had to give it a nice whip, nice clean cut. Let's check this. Left and right, still good. Front to back, lockup is nice. So if you had to cut a piece of rope really quickly, you can, but show you guys, that was that nice clean chop cut, and there's a cut through right there. So if you had to come in, cut some thicker rope, absolutely can do it. Let's get this yellow poly rope out here. So you got the yellow poly rope, guys. This stuff is thick, it's a pain in the butt. I'm not going to be able to chop through this, I can tell you that right now. So I am going to come in and just cut a nice piece off. Bam. Cut nicely. There you go, you guys can see it. Yellow snow. I gotta rake all that up, guys. Dogs like to eat it, so, and then I see it in their poop. It's, anyway, long story. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear that. So here we got the fire hose, guys. You guys know this is cut and abrasion resistant. It's made to handle some of the roughest stuff out there. Some of the, you know, mud, blood, and guts, car wreckage, broken glass, twisted metal, all that good stuff. So 2 layers. You got 2 layers of canvas with a layer of rubber that's glued into the second canvas. So it's definitely thick, hard to cut and abrasion resistant. We're going to cut a chunk off. With this 154 cm blade and this nice thin profile, it actually makes this a very slicey little guy. So that was a nice clean slice cut right through that fire hose. Absolutely no problem. If I had to come in here, I'm going to press down. Got pretty much almost all the way through there, but what I wanted to do was kind of drag cut this. Yeah. So cut through the 1 layer, cut through pretty much the second layer. You can see that I kind of think I pulled out just a little bit right at the end there, so it didn't get that one all the way. So there it goes. So open it up into, and then we pretty much got through, take that piece off, almost was able to drag cut through the back side of the rubber layer on the third side. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good little little test of the, nicely done. So actually do some pretty good little cuts here, right? And we can actually test that on the old catalog here. So this is a catalog I use to stab, guys. It's a nice thick catalog, but let's, there are some stab marks here on the front, but let's, oh, look at that. That was actually pretty good. Look at that. Nice clean cut right through. That's a decent amount of the catalog that it cut through, like this part right here. So that's actually pretty good. And that was just a quick little, so this actual little bit of a tip can drive through some material if you needed it to. You know, let's say you had some, you know, zombies are a little overplayed, guys. I think we need to change it up from zombies to something else. Deadites. Let's say you had some deadites coming at you. And some of you guys will know what a deadite is. And if you don't, look it up and go watch those movies. Excellent movies. The Evil Dead series. Maybe you got some deadites coming at you, right? So you got to, hey, get off me, deadite. Yeah, look at about the same amount through. That's actually a pretty good little, you know, you had to do some quick little slicing. It's actually going to drive that tip right through very nicely. So pretty good. Pretty impressed with that. So had to do some slicing, dicing, julienne, if you will. Definitely can. We've got the thicker sissy rope here, guys. This stuff is thick, heavy duty, very cut, you know, very hard on knife edge, actually. Come in here. Do some sawing-like motions. Cut through. You got some brown snow. Still got a pretty darn good edge. Nice. So, sissy rope, absolutely 3,000 PSI rated air compressor hose, guys. So this old air compressor hose came off of an air compressor, obviously. Come in here. Boom. Cut a piece off, no problem. Here you go. Had to come in here and cut this in half. Bam, hose is cut in half. Now another nice thing about cleaver style blades is if you work in an environment where you don't want to over penetrate or pierce something, not having that full on tip on like a regular knife is actually, it's nice. Like you don't have to worry about accidentally stabbing something that you maybe not supposed to stab, right? So that's another good thing about cleaver style blades. What we have here too now is a 3,000 PSI rated pressure washer hose. You guys can see in there, it's actually a thicker piece of inner plastic, rather where like the air compressor hose is like rubber with like nylon reinforcement. This is like a full-on piece of nylon or something plastic. So this is definitely a little bit harder to cut. So we're going to come in here and we're just going to cut right through it. So kind of a testament to how nice this blade is. You guys see there? I think it's like a nylon inner core. So let's cut this in half. Let's get a good look at it. Oh, okay, interesting. So you have your outer sheath, then you have whatever this stuff is, some sort of a like nylon rope stuff that's wrapped around a plastic core. So interesting, in case you're ever curious what's inside of a pressure washer hose, there you go. So kind of your basic cutting stuff, rope, hoses, things like that, cutting it through obviously paper, doing things like that, absolutely can handle that type of stuff. Now, something that, again, you do have somewhat of a lack of a tip here, but there is a little bit of a tip. You know, if you had to kind of pierce into some jean material, you guys see I was able to easily do that. And then you can come in and cut the clothing off to render first aid or whatever it is, whatever reason you're cutting clothing off for, you can do that. So cutting jean material and stuff, absolutely not a problem. Let's say you do need to use this for some woodworking stuff, right? Let's say you're out and about and you're like, oh man, I need to, let me find a stick here. I need to make a tent stake, right? You're out camping, whatever, you forgot your main camping knife at home. All you got's, you know, this little guy. Can you make a tent stake with it, right? So this is a thicker piece of, it's probably a little thicker than what I would normally use, but I think this is what I got. So we're going to use what we got. So if I had to make a tent stake, normally what I do, now when I'm doing this, guys, I wouldn't say, again, don't normally, this knife isn't designed, folding cleaver is not designed to be chopping necessarily, but I put it through its paces for you guys. So, and I'm also testing out that lock for you guys very well. But normally what I do is when I'm making a tent stake, I'll do some quick little chops like this just to speed up the process, to kind of whittle the stick down to a little bit of a point. Got this little piece right there. I got to cut that off. Cut that off. And I'm actually able to kind of pinch this between my two fingers and actually get some decent little whip chops going here. And also by doing this, I'm able to really test out that edge and the lock on this thing. And this thing is still 100% locked up. There's no play left or right or front or back. So, you know, that's a lot of force going down on that knife, right? So now let's get this down to a point. Come in here and hog some of this material off. Hit myself in the face with it. Obviously for a tent stake, you don't need it to be super duper sharp. vampire steak, you do. But there you go. You got a nice little point there. Now, what I like to do to make that tent steak is not drop the stick. Let's cut this little thing off. I usually like to come in and, so I was making a tent steak. Since this is dropped it again, since this is a curved stick, I'd probably make my notch on this side because I'd hammer it in this way. So let's do that. So normally what I'll do is I'll come in here, just kind of work in some cuts like so. Bam, putting a lot of, you see I kind of carve it out like that a little bit, and then usually what I do is I'll come in over the top where I stopped at, cut off those pieces. Bam. Now I got a nice little notch there, stick in the ground, tie my paracord right here so it latches on nice and tight, my tent stake down. So if you had to come in, make a tent stake with this little cleaver, absolutely. Still got a nice edge. Everything is still, the lock is still looking good. The nested liner lock, front and back's good. Let's say you had to make some fire curls. Can you make some fire curls with it? I'm not very good at making fire curls this way, guys, but you guys can see those pieces kind of falling off. The problem I have is I'm too heavy-handed, and I usually wind up cutting the pieces that go flying off. So typically what I like to do is I usually like to stick the knife in the log and then drag the wood across it. Now, there isn't really a tip to stick in the log, but there is a little bit of one, so let's try that out. Okay, so I'm able to get it in there. It's not like super deep, but it's enough to where if I hold it, I can come in here and work the stick back and forth. Actually just peeled a bunch of those pieces off. Probably not the best stick to use, but there you go. So can you come in and make some fire curls and things like that to help get your fire going? Yeah, absolutely. You sure can. Yeah, not too bad. Again, this isn't necessarily designed to be a woodworking tool, right? So what we are going to do now, though, is we are going to test the strength of the lock, guys, by batoning through this piece of seasoned almond wood. Again, this isn't something I recommend you do with your knife. This would be considered abuse. I just do this to show you guys that in an emergency situation, if you had to do this, could you? Yes. And we're testing that lock out, guys, that liner lock. So there we go. So the entire time I was doing that, I did not feel the lock give out at all. Oftentimes when I'm doing this with a knife, a folding knife, sometimes while you're batoning it, you will feel like a quick little, because I'm holding the handle, pressure down on the handle, you'll feel the lock give, and you'll get a quick little downward motion, but then the pressure of hitting the blade usually pops it back in, right? I didn't feel this thing give at all. It stayed solid the whole time. And left and right, front and back, it's holding up nice. This is definitely harder to baton with because I have less to work with. This is a smaller blade, so I don't recommend batoning with it. It's not necessary. It's not what it's designed for. Definitely always use your knives. Use the appropriate tools if you have them. Bad situation happens, you're stuck, whatever, and you had to use it. Can you? Yes. Just definitely got to be careful, but you can. But flips open nicely. That edge is still there. Held up very nicely, the 154 CM. This definitely has a thinner profile, so there is no chipping or rolling on the edge that I can see. So held up very, very nicely. So guys, if you're looking for a really cool, unassuming EDC blade that, you know, you can carry around in the office, out in public, and not, you know, get some dirty looks and things like that. Definitely worth looking into the Gambit. I mean, it's got a really small footprint. It's going to fit nicely in your pocket. It might even fit in one of your pocket organizers. Actually, it will fit in your pocket organizer with the size. It's got a nice deep pocket carry clip. It's going to be nicely hidden in your pocket. You can get it out. You can spidey flick it open, cut up your steak or your sausages while you're out to dinner. So yeah, very, very nice blade. Very cool blade. Again, I love that cleaver style. I think it's a widely underused design, but there it is, guys. The Gambit, designed by Dirk Pinkerton. Shieldon knives. There's going to be links to Shieldon below, Amazon links, things like that. So make sure you go check those out and go pick you up one of these Gambits, guys. I think it's totally worth it. And if you guys are into flashlights and gears and gear bag, EDC gear and stuff like that, definitely go check out my other channel, Straight Edge Lights and Gear. I do flashlight reviews, gear bags, and things like that over there. Go check that out. It's a small channel. I'm trying to grow it up. And stay tuned here for more knife reviews. I got a couple other Shieldon knives on here. Definitely go check out. And guys, make sure you definitely go pick one of these up. Hit that like, subscribe button, comment, share with your friends. It greatly helps the channel. All right, everybody, stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you on the next one.